So he then started a seminary called St. Paul's Seminary. The process started in 1922, but then in 1924, this seminary was officially opened at a place called Ibariam. In 1922, when the process started, the bishop was already residing in Onitsha, so the process started actually in Onitsha, but then the official opening of that seminary was in Ibariam on 29th July 1920.
Chairman of the BIGAD Centenary Planning Committee, Reverend Dr. Udenwagu, listed the activities lined up for the centenary celebration.
To emphasize the impact of this centennial celebration, on the first day, which is the 10th, we are going to have an inaugural mass which will be presided over by His Grace, Most Reverend Valerian Okeke, the Archbishop of Onitsha and Metropolitan of Onitsha Ecclesiastical Province. After the mass, during which he will declare open this event, he will go straight and bless our centenary hostel. That hostel has invested a lot of money, not minding what is happening in the society. Commitment for which this seminar is known. So after that first day, after the mass, then we go to the centenary arena, where we will have inauguration of the academic year, where the Archbishop, when he declares open the event, will present awards, academic awards, to students who have distinguished themselves. Then on the second day, we will have a cultural event. These cultural events are drawn to show the dynamic is known. On the third day, we will have the academic presentation of a biblical quiz. 10 secondary schools within Enugu metropolis have been selected to participate in this. Then on the fourth day, we also have an academic presentation, that is symposium, that will take 3 days. The first day, the second day will be roundtable discussions, and then the third day, that is on the 13th. Yes. The symposium will be on the 14th of November. We have invited experts from different fields: philosophy, theology, anthropology, information technology.
BIGAD Memorial Seminary, described as the foremost seminary in Africa and the Catholic world, will have a unique celebration that will be significant in many dimensions. From 1924 to date, BIGAD Memorial Seminary is proud to have nurtured great men in all walks of life, among whom are 4 cardinals, 14 archbishops, 35 bishops, and thousands of priests and lay professionals in all spheres of life. The cleric said that the celebration of the grand finale will begin on November 10th and end on November 21 at the BIGAD Memorial Seminary, Enugu. And away from that now, an Enugu State Magistrate Court has remanded a woman, Mrs. Ada Obuogu, for allegedly breaking her 3-year-old stepson's bone with a pestle. Arraigning the accused, the police told the court that Mrs. Obuogu committed an act to cause grievous harm, contrary to law, an offense that attracts life imprisonment as punishment if convicted. Her bail application was rejected by Chief Magistrate Alfonso Sede, who ordered her remand at the Correctional Center and adjourned the matter to 26 November 2024, when the report from the Director of Public Prosecutions, Ministry of Justice, Enugu, is expected. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Children, Gender Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Ngozi, told newsmen that Mrs. Obuogu's arraignment was in line with the administration's vow to follow the matter to a logical conclusion, insisting that no child should be dehumanized in Enugu State. No fewer than 4 unknown gunmen have reportedly been neutralized by a crack team of security operatives in Enugu State. The security squad, comprising the Nigerian Army, the police, and the DSS personnel, also recovered a cache of arms and ammunition from the gunmen, while some of them fled into the bush with various degrees of gunshot injuries. According to the report, the criminal elements were intercepted in the early hours They were intercepted in the early hours of Wednesday and overpowered by operatives at Ehalomona in the Nsukka local government area, while hatching sinister plans of attacking some parts of the state, including the metropolis. Meanwhile, the two security personnel who sustained minor injuries during the exchange of fire are presently receiving treatment and have been confirmed to be in stable conditions. We'll take a short break now. When we return, the news continues.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owner, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and
an incompetent means an incompetent person.
What are your thoughts on the spate of sex for grades in Nigerian universities?
This very issue of owing salary should be criminalized.
How can they amplify their voices?
People don't have evidence.
You want to get to know about it? Have to stay tuned right here on Afia Morning Show to get the pulse and the feel of that.
Join us on Gyno Plus every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right on Afia TV, DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17, where we will delve into health issues affecting girls and women in society.
breastfeeding doesn't even cause blood size.
The frequency of breastfeeding means the
Approach you take to make sure that your well-being is maintained.
Welcome back to News Today here on Afia TV. And moving now to another development, the wife of the Anambra State Governor, Dr. Nonye Soludo, has visited Central School Odekbe in Obaro local government area of the state, where people displaced by flood in the area are currently taking shelter. Mrs. Soludo, while addressing residents of the holding camp in Odekbe, assured them of continuous government assistance to ensure that they are well taken care of. The governor's wife equally appealed to other well-to-do individuals to reach out to those at the different holding centers in Anambra State, expressing her belief that the challenges of the moment could be won with love and compassion. Meanwhile, communities in 5 local government areas of the state are currently affected by the flood, and they include Anambra West, Anambra East, Obaro, Oka North, and Anyamelum local government areas as a result of the rising water levels from the River Niger. As a result of this, the state government has activated no fewer than 27 holding camps where the displaced flood victims from these localities are presently taking refuge. And lastly, on the regional news, the National Emergency Management Agency has announced that it had conducted assessments of the flood impacts in Anambra and Bayelsa states as part of its flood preparedness, response, and recovery efforts for this year. The assessments were carried out in collaboration with the state emergency management agencies, the Nigerian Red Cross Society, and the International Organization for Migration. A statement from NEMA's spokesperson, Manzo Ezekiel, noted that in Anambra, NEMA focused on 8 local government areas, while in Bayelsa, the assessment covered 54 communities across 7 local governments. The statement noted that the Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, emphasized the importance of harmonizing data with SEMAs and partners to accurately assess the scale of the disaster, ensuring a more coordinated and effective response. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll have stories from the national scene. Stay with us.
Welcome to the latest and most amazing show on here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing along.
I did single. For real.
You're not a backup singer.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersections? What are the conversations we're having about our Igbo spirituality, culture? An example is people wearing red cap. You know, everybody wears red cap. Are they entitled to wear it? What does Nzenozo mean? What does Igbo spirituality mean? How have we changed as a society over the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Every Thursday at 6 p.m. if you want to know more on libations, as I have a conversation with different people from all walks of life who common thread is being Igbo, or doing business with the Igbo, or living in Igbo land. What does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? Cheers. And, I need to do this. Let me pour to our ancestors.
You're welcome back to Afia TV News today. My name is Alex Obodo. To the national scene now, the Minister of Defense, Abubakar Badaru, and his counterpart, Bello Matawale, have condoled with President Bola Tinubu over the demise of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, who passed away on Tuesday night. Describing the death of the Chief of Army Staff, Lagbaja, as tragic, the minister narrated the demise of the Chief of Army Staff as a great loss to the nation. He recounted Lieutenant General Lagbaja as a gallant officer and a warrior who served in so many theaters and performed credibly at service. Badaru prayed for the repose of Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja's soul.
So it's on a very somber note that I'm talking this moment, because the entire Nigerian army is actually in a very sorrowful mood, having lost our leader, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja. This was someone that gave his all to Nigeria. He was a selfless leader, very passionate about Nigeria, and he led the Nigerian army very well. He was courageous. He was known to be thorough and a professional to the core. So it's a big loss to us. And all we could say at this moment is that we pray that the good Lord will find a good place for him to rest. Then I want to enjoin Nigerians. For someone that have given all to his all to Nigeria, we need to celebrate him. So in that, I think I want Nigerians to actually celebrate him for the good job he did while alive.
That's actually Lieutenant General Oluyode, the current Chief of Army Staff. Also, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, lauded the Chief of Army Staff service to the nation. He described Lieutenant General Lagbaja as a great loss. Matawalle condoled with his family and the nation.
With him, we enjoy working with him because, as the Honorable Minister said, he's a gallant officer and it's a great loss to this nation. And all we can say is to God to bless the family, and we assure Nigerians that we'll continue praying for the demise of Lagbaja, and we sending our condolences to the family of the deceased and Mr. President, because it's a great loss to this nation.
Also, the Acting Chief of Army Staff, Olufemi Oluyode, Lieutenant General, expressed regret following the death of the Chief of Army Staff. And now let's listen to the Chief of Army Staff, Olufemi Oluyode.
Because the entire Nigerian army is actually in a very sorrowful mood, having lost our leader, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja. This was someone that gave his all to Nigeria. He was a selfless leader, very passionate about Nigeria, and he led the Nigerian army very well. He was courageous. He was known to be thorough and a professional to the core. So it's a big loss to us. And all we could say at this moment is that we pray that the good Lord will find a good place for him to rest. Then I want to enjoin Nigerians. For someone that have given his all to Nigeria, we need to celebrate him. So in that, I think I want Nigerians to actually celebrate him for the good job he did while alive.
President Bola Tinubu had on Wednesday rescheduled the Federal Executive Council meeting to a yet-to-be-announced date. Initially scheduled for the Wednesday, the council meeting was postponed in honor of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff, who passed away on Tuesday night. President Tinubu's, after the announcement and the postponement of at the council chamber, Vice President Kashim Shettima led other council members in observing a minute silence in honor of the late Army Chief. In other news, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered officers and men of the Nigeria Police to wear black bands for a 7-day mourning period in honor of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. The police boss gave the directive in a statement issued on Thursday by the First Public Relations Officer, Muyiwa Adejobi. Adejobi said the directive is to honor Lagbaja, who showed gallantry, dedication, and passion in the fight against insurgency in the country during his lifetime. Similarly, the president on Wednesday directed that Nigeria's national flags be flown at half-mast for 7 days across the country to mourn the passing of the late Army Chief. In a related development, wife of Nigeria's President Oluremi Tinubu has expressed deep condolences over the death of former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who died on Tuesday night in Lagos. In a message she issued on Wednesday, the First Lady extolled the sterling qualities of the late Chief of Army Staff and also paid a condolence visit to the family of the late Chief of Army Staff. The First Lady, who was accompanied by the wife of the Vice President, Hajia Nana Shettima, and the wife of the National Security Advisor, Hajia Zara Ribadu, were received by the wife of the Chief of Defense Staff, Mrs. Ogogo Musa. She urged them to be comforted by the good life and legacies he left behind, and appealed to the children to remain focused and pursue the ideals their father lived for. Still in Abuja, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu says the Renewed Hope Initiative is committed to supporting women farmers nationwide in alignment with the broader national agenda to strengthen the agricultural sector. Mrs. Tinubu stated this after a meeting with the board and friends of the organizers of the Every Home Garden competition at the State House, Abuja. where the winning entries from the states and the Federal Capital Territory were being reviewed. The First Lady says that the selection of the prospective winner is a painstaking one, as all entries from various states show that participants are probable winners. She also noted that the competition, which commenced in February, is aimed at inculcating the habit of farming and food production into the society right from the family to promote eating healthy foods and sustainable farming. Meanwhile, the winner of the Renewed Hope Initiative-powered Every Home Garden competition will be announced in December 2024. Finally, on the national news, Nigeria's Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, has held discussions with India's Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri Mohan, on enhancing partnerships in housing development and exploring collaborative strategies for urban development between Nigeria and India. Dangiwa, who disclosed this during a landmark meeting at the 12th edition of the World Urban Forum in Cairo, Egypt, also noted that the meeting featured Nigeria's plans to establish building materials manufacturing hubs which would enhance local production capacity to support affordable housing and job creation in Nigeria. The minister explained that the discussions between both countries covered key areas of potential cooperation, including Nigeria's Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, social housing schemes, building resilient and sustainable cities, slum upgrade and urban renewal, and addressing the challenge of informal settlements. Expressing India's support, India's Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri Mohan Lal, highlighted the mutual benefits of the cooperation. And now to business news. Monopolistic tendencies was the best description given to the saga between the Dangote refinery and marketers over the alleged high cost of fuel in Nigeria. This was the viewpoint of Emmanuel Chime, a public affairs analyst on the Eastern Business Report segment of the Afia Business Morning with Obon Kings.
The issue of Ipman and Dangote refineries. I think what Dangote is clearly doing is that Dangote is actually fighting against competition. Simple. Dangote have lived all his business life, corporate life, fighting competition. He don't like competition at all in any business field where he finds himself. Even if the business has been in existence, whenever he goes into that particular business circle, the next thing you start saying is Dangote fighting competition there. He wants to see himself being the monopolist right there in that particular business circle. And oil industry is not exceptional. So that's exactly what you're seeing right now. That he's refusing to have an interface with Ipman and of course other marketers' bodies thereabouts. It's not unconnected to the fact that he did not want to see where people will tell him, okay, these are realities that have been on ground. We know about this. Why not we'll do this? If we'll do this, we'll still make your gain. And we'll go ahead to assuage Nigerians of suffering that Nigerians are being bedeviled with currently. But it now so just like from the video we just watched right now, and the man speaking right there rightly said that he said no, he wants to be dealing with marketers individually, not as a body. Now, and you see where the allegations are coming. At the time, Dangote rightly raised an uproar saying that international oil companies have come to a particular farm, a particular oil farm just next to his own refineries, and rented a particular farm to begin to use it and stockpile, he said, substandard products to saturate the petroleum market of Nigeria. And for goodness sake, you want to play one kind of mind games, these have been his gimmicks all over.
Still on the business news and outside Nigeria, the Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan announced at the World Food Prize Norman E. Borlaug International Dialogue in Iowa that Tanzania has achieved 128% food security, allowing it to export surplus produce to neighboring countries. He said Tanzania has also achieved a new milestone by becoming a processor and net exporter of cashew nuts, a rarity among African countries. The president noted that Tanzania's Job Creator for Youth and Women program is targeting the country's 65% youth population with training in farming, agriculture, livestock, and crop farming. And lastly, on business news, an online shopping site, Amazon, has received a regulatory approval from the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, to begin flying a smaller, quieter version of its delivery drone, which is the latest step in its long-running efforts to get the futuristic program off the ground. The company unveiled the new drone called the MK30 in November 2022, where it said then that the MK30, in addition to other changes, would fly through light rain and have twice the range of earlier models. Meanwhile, the FAA's approval includes permission to fly the MK30 over long distances and beyond the visual line of sight of pilots, where the agency granted a similar waiver for Amazon's Prime Air program in May, though that was limited to flights in College Station, Texas, one of the cities where it has been conducting tests. It's time for another break. When we return, we have stories from the international scene and the world of sports. Stay with us.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersections? What are the conversations we're having about our Igbo spirituality, culture? An example is people wearing red cap. You know, everybody wears red cap. Are they entitled to wear it? What does Nzenozo mean? What does Igbo spirituality mean? How have we changed as a society over the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Every Thursday, 6 p.m., if you want to know more on libations, as I have a conversation with different people from all walks of life who common thread is being Igbo, or doing business with the Igbo, or living in Igbo land. What does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? Cheers. And, I need to do this. Let me pour to our ancestors.
It's a brand new week and another opportunity for us to gist, to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
Assalamu alaikum jama'a, sunana mai martaba Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. Ina kallon Afia TV kuma ina jaddada ma jama'an mu su dinga kallon Afia TV. Allah ya taimake su a aikin da suke na kyau. Inda ba yake ne mu no afambo His Royal Highness Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo an ma watch Afia TV na kwado kwandibu. Inda ba ni ne ka hana watch Afia TV. Afia TV na mofima dalono.
Time check, it's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV. So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes of What?
You're welcome back to Afia TV News today. We are live from Enugu, Southeast Nigeria. My name is Alex Obodo. To the foreign scene now, where Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has called her rival Republican Donald Trump to concede defeat in the United States presidential election. In Wednesday's phone call, Harris congratulated Trump and also discussed the importance of a peaceful transfer of power and being a president for everyone in the country. Harris has delivered remarks in Washington, her first public speech since her projected loss to Trump in the November 5th race. She was supposed to address the throng of supporters on the campus of her alma mater, Howard University, last night, but her campaign director told the tearful crowd waiting outside that she would speak the next day, which she did. A report say the United States President Joe Biden plans to rush billions of dollars in security assistance to Ukraine before he leaves office in January, hoping to shore up the government in Kiev before Donald Trump returns to the White House. Trump, who won Tuesday's election, has criticized the scale of U.S. military and financial support for Ukraine and has pledged to end the war with Russia quickly, without saying how. His position on Ukraine has raised concerns about the future of Washington's support for Ukraine's war with Russia under a Republican-controlled White House, Senate, and possibly the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was among the first world leaders to congratulate Trump and also spoke to the president-elect on Wednesday. Finally, on the international front, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced plans to legislate for a ban on social media for children under 16 years of age. An initiative his government says it's world leading. Australia's Minister of Communications, Michelle Rowland, on Thursday said the social media platforms impacted would include Meta's Instagram and Facebook, as well as ByteDance video sharing TikTok and Elon Musk's X, previously known as Twitter. Rowland explained that Alphabet's YouTube would also likely fall within the scope of the legislation. He noted that legislation will be introduced into Parliament this year, with the laws coming into effect 12 months after the law is ratified by parliamentarians. In the world of sports, Nigeria's under-18 men's handball team has crowned the champion of the IHF Trophy Africa men's continental phase on Wednesday after securing a 38-26 victory over Guinea in the final held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Coach Emeka Namani's team started the match with determination, and despite some avoidable turnovers, they led the first half with a score of 21-14. Ultimately, Nigeria triumphed with a final score of 38-26, successfully retaining the title they won in Congo-Brazzaville 2 years ago. With this victory, Nigeria has qualified for the IHF Trophy International phase, which will take place early next year in a yet-to-be-determined country, where they will represent Africa in the under-18 youth category. And lastly, in sports, head coach Augustine Eguavoin has invited William Troost-Ekong, Atalanta of Italy's Ademola Lookman, Moses Simon, reigning Africa Player of the Year Victor Osimhen, and 19 other players for Super Eagles 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Eguavoin has also called goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali and Maduka Okoye, defenders Calvin Bassey and Bright Osai Samuel, as well as midfielders Frank Onyeka, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Al-Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi, and forwards Kelechi Iheanacho, Victor Boniface, and Samuel Chukwueze. Meanwhile, Super Eagles will engage Benin Republic and Rwanda in the closing rounds of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign this month. Up next is the special report. And the Imo State has been shaken by another wave of violent attacks, this time by unknown persons who attempted to bomb a market in Olu. Miriam Onyebule, our correspondent in Owerri, has the full report.
The insecurity levels here in Imo State has heightened. This is as there was an attack recently, just on Tuesday, at the Olu International Market, where an improvised explosive device was detonated. The two persons who were suspected to have carried this explosive device died at the scene.
Ha bụ bọmbụ bata n'ala okporobe anyị, bọmbụ abọsọ. Bọmbụ abọsọ gbagbusie ha na ha bụkwa machine. Dorisi akwa ha, aka ha gwụrụ agwụ.
We've tried getting people on the streets of Owerri to react to this latest attack, but they are unwilling to talk out of fear of being attacked after the reactions have been taken. Meanwhile, just one person was able to speak to us anonymously.
Nobody is safe. Even the business you are doing is not safe. Everything, insecurity, just like saying if there is an insecurity in any place, that place doesn't flourish. And what government need to do, government know what to do, but they don't just want to do it. Because you can't tell me that your house is on fire, you don't know how to put down the fire or actually go about it. Is a lie. Except that thing is profiting you, that's where you don't know what to do. But if you really know what, if you want to stop the insecurity, government know what to do. Period.
Owerri used to be known for its nightlife. Nowadays, nobody is willing to stay out late anymore. Meanwhile, reacting to the attack at Olu, the police force here in the state has deployed security operatives to the area and promised the safety of lives and property. They've assured people to be rest assured that they are at the beck and call in case they see any suspicious activities around. This still calls for urgent intervention by the government. In the city of Owerri, I am Miriam Onyebule reporting for Afia Television.
That was the special report from Miriam Onyebule. Thank you so much for that. And to end the news today, here is a recap of our top stories. The Anambra First Lady, Nonye Soludo, visits IDP camps in Anambra State. In Abuja, First Lady Remi Tinubu has said Renewed Hope Initiative is committed to supporting women farmers nationwide. On business news, we told you that Tanzania has achieved food self-sufficiency and exports to other African countries. On the foreign scene, you heard that Vice TV official. My name is Alex.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs,